Okay, we are going to be talking about 1-point perspective. We're going to be using a pencil to draw our lines with, and then when it comes down to everybody going to decorate these, you'll start to outline them with Sharpie. But for the directions, I am going to use a Sharpie so you can see on the board. So the first thing we're going to start to do is we are going to start with some squares, okay? You can keep it simple and use squares. If anybody wants to challenge themselves and take it to the next level, they feel really comfortable with the squares, they really feel comfortable with 3D shapes, you can experiment with some different geometric shapes like a triangle or even a circle is doable, but for the directions, to keep it simple for everybody, I'm just going to use squares. So the first thing we want to think about when we're drawing our squares is how we're going to make these 3D. We're going to be making these 3D by choosing 1-point perspective, okay? You're going to need to think about where on your paper you want to have all your squares going to. In mine, I have it in the center, but if you off-center it, it's going to give you a different look. So to keep things simple for everyone, I am just going to put a dot in the center. That is going to tell me that all of my squares need to head to that dot for 1-point perspective. I'm going to go around this close to the little dot I made and just do a few different size squares and rectangles. Add variety by making them different sizes, and remember, in art, variety is when you make things different. Now I'm just freehanding it, but if you feel comfortable with using a ruler to draw your squares, you would do something like this. It can be a little tricky with a ruler, okay? Because if I don't make the, I'm going to end up having a different shape here, measurements right. I do know for some friends, sometimes the ruler actually is a little harder. So you can either freehand it or use the edge of that ruler to draw your squares. So I am just going to start with 4 for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a square to start with, and I'm going to draw side lines that go to that vanishing point, okay? So right now I'm going to start with the 2 corners that are the closest to that vanishing point. So I'm going to grab the edge of my ruler, and I'm going to line it up with the corner of my square, and then have it slice right through that dot I made. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to stop when I get to that dot. Now I'm going to go on this side and I'm going to do the same thing. Line it up with the corner and the dot and draw a line. Now, if I was to draw a line from these corners, technically you're not going to see them because they come behind this shape. So I don't even need to worry about drawing a line for them. At any time, if you line your ruler from the corner to the vanishing point, that's what that dot in the middle is called, then and you realize it goes right through that square, then you don't need to worry about it. So I'm going to go to the next. Okay, this guy, where are the closest corners to that dot? I'm going to take my ruler, line it up to these ones because they're the closest. Line the ruler up to that corner and then that dot. I'm going to do the same on this, so go ahead, line it up to the corner and the dot. Okay, so I have 2. Let's check this one up here. Yep, I wouldn't see it. It goes right through the shape. What about this guy? Oh, okay, so this back corner here, if I line this up with the ruler in here, yep, that guy's going to go right through that like that. So him, you are going to want to draw one from, if you can see it on yours. So now I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to, again, line the corner with the edge of my ruler. It needs to go right through that dot and line up with the corner here. Perfect. Now if I was to draw from this corner, nope, it goes right through the shape, so I don't need to. Nope, same thing. Okay, so now I'm going to check this one out. Line it up. Line it up. If I just line up the corner to the dot here, nope, same thing. I'm not going to see it because it goes right through that shape. Okay, so now I'm going to do some in the back, and then it gets a little trickier, friends, because you got to make sure that when you're doing it, you're trying to work around the ones you have. So I'm going to start always with the corner that's the closest to that vanishing point, and that would be this one. So I'm going to line it up. And I can see that part of it's gonna go through this guy. So I'm gonna stop once I touch this guy because there's some overlapping going on. So I've got my ruler lined up with the corner here, and then I'm taking it and lining it up with this point. And I'm gonna stop because it goes behind him. All right, check this one. Yep, all right, line it up with the corner. Make sure that ruler goes right through the vanishing point and drag it in. Same thing with this one. Okay, I know there's going to be overlapping going on, so watch how this works. I'm going to go to the corner with the edge of my ruler, line the edge of the ruler with the vanishing point, and guess what? Part of it goes through this guy in the front, so because there's overlapping, I'm going to stop once I get to that other shape. Perfect. Okay, so I am going to just now work on these ones out here. You can watch me do these, and then we'll keep going with more in the back. Okay friends, so I've got the next layer. You can continue adding more. We're going to keep building up until you get comfortable. Let's say that, hey, maybe this took me a little longer and I could only get comfortable with maybe getting this far versus this far. What's great about this 3D project is that you can kind of take it as far as you want. I have in the past, when friends were only able to get it and get a few shapes done, we were able to cut the paper so that you were able to focus on just what's here. So for this project, we're just going to do our best to get comfortable with 1-point perspective, but it's not something that, you know, you need to have that entire paper full. However, if you can get that entire paper full, that would be great. So go at your own pace.